So, the latest rabbit hole that I have been going down is about linen. But before we get started, my name is Lynn Fairchild and welcome to my channel. So, linen. When I hear it, I just think of one type of fabric and then that's it, right? And then over time, I learned just from doing embroidery that there are different weights to linen, that you might have a medium weight or handkerchief. But then I found out even more about linen, and then that's really where my whole rabbit hole really started to take form. Do you know that when you say linen, that there might be 3 different types of linen? It could be Ramie. If I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. It's R-A-M-I-E. It could be flax, or it might be hemp. And specifically, I'm talking about linen from a historical perspective. For those who don't know, I like to focus on 16th century blackwork embroidery, specifically the early 16th century where it's more geometric shaped with the reversible stitch, also known as Holbein stitch. Well, whenever you go to a museum, you will find this type of embroidery where it will say silk thread on linen. Well, that doesn't help when you find out that there are 3 different types of linen. And the reason why I do that in quotations is because flax is very much one type of plant, which Ramie is a different type of plant, 2 totally different plants. But the end product is similar enough that, and I believe this has to go back centuries when you look at like the German language, the French language, and then how it was incorporated into the English language, it just became linen. And it's more or less think of it as an umbrella encompassing everything. They are very similar, but they come from different plants. So based on what the plant is can then also determine how thin or thick the weight of the linen is. For example, Ramie, the plant originated from Southeast Asia, and I'm talking years, centuries ago. Because when you look up information, you can find documented records where it says it was around in 3000 BC, possibly 8000 BC. It was around when the Egyptian pharaohs were around. So that tells you it's been around for a lot of years. But that's Southeast Asia, that type of plant that makes the Ramie, it is meant for warm climates. So while Ramie originated from Southeast Asia, flax, that plant, that for flax, and that's also where we get flaxseed oil, that originated around the Mediterranean. And it is more where Ramie likes warmer climates, the flax plant likes cooler climates. But if you do your research, you look into it, you also find where flax and that plant making fabric has been around for centuries. And you can also find where it had been around since 3000 BC. I saw reference to the Iron Age. It's also been around for a very long time. So when you're looking at a museum textile that just says linen, it does not specify which plant it originated from. Pretty much you would have to do a fiber test and get very intricate. And I found one paper that had zoomed in pictures where depending on, and I mean, we're talking under a microscope zoomed in to try to determine which plant created that particular fabric. That's how detailed this can get. But overall, if you're looking at linen, say you're just looking to purchase linen today, if it is under, I believe it's 3.25, if it's under that, if it's smaller, if it's 1.5 or something like that, 2.25, then that's Ramie, because flax cannot, it just doesn't come in that light of a lightweight material. So aside from looking at museum pieces and trying to determine what plant they used to create the fabric, to create the linen, or what the weight of it was it a handkerchief weight? Was it a medium weight? Because from a blackwork embroidery perspective, if I'm trying to be as historically accurate as possible with my items, then that means I also have to be historically accurate as much as possible with my linen. Because if I'm embroidering on polyester, that would not be historically accurate. So I'm trying to dive in deep, and then this is where part of my rabbit hole came in. And I also asked on social media where other people like to purchase their linen, and well, I kind of made a few purchases because it's linen. I'm going to use it at some point, and I'm comparing and contrasting the different linens to see which ones I like, which ones I don't, and that's from an embroidery standpoint, but also comparing and contrasting with the museum pieces to see which linen I think looks most comparable to what was used in 16th century textiles. And I'm specifically talking a nightcap or a coif or a smock, something that was worn in 16th century, specifically England, but if I might also look at Italian pieces or French pieces. Just to give you an idea of what I'm looking at, for example, this is a sample. This is from Gray Line Linens, and this is their handkerchief. And as you can, I don't know if I can show you or not, you might be able to see that it's almost see-through. Like if I hold it up, I can see the camera and everything through this. So it's very lightweight. It would be very easy to embroider, as I can see the holes very distinctly, especially if I had a light underneath or if I were embroidering out in the sunshine, I would be able to embroider this very easily. But it's almost too lightweight compared to the museum samples that I found. So far, the museum samples that I have found actually look more like they have a medium weight to them and remind me more of the linen that I had already purchased from Fabric Store a couple of years ago. So my plan is to create like a board or something like that where I can have different samples and be able to display the different types of linen at an upcoming, maybe an arts and crafts fair at an SCA event. For those who don't know, the SCA is the Society for Creative Anachronism. It's a nonprofit international educational organization that studies and recreates the years approximately 600 to 1600. I say approximately because we do have members who maybe do Roman, they do Pictish, they do something prior to 600. So that 600 is more of a gray area, but 1600 is a more or less a firm cutoff. But with that, you might find Vikings, or like me, someone who does Tudor or Elizabethan. To me, it's a lot of fun. There's heavy weapons fighting, there's rapier, there's archery, arts and crafts, camping, dancing. If you want to learn how to cook the food, if you want to just simply enjoy eating the medieval food, there's a little bit of something for everyone. But anyways, I digress. So my plan is to take the different samples of linen that I have and create a board to show, here are the museum examples, and then here are the examples from different stores that exist today. So that way, if you are someone who is interested in maybe purchasing a more historically accurate linen, you can look to see what it is out there. But even with that, I think in the end, as far as your, like with me, my embroidery projects, or say you're just simply making yourself a shirt, a smock, whatever you're making, in the end, it's what you can afford, because I have found some very, well, we'll say inexpensive linens, and then I have found very expensive linens. How much are you wanting to spend? And even with that, you might be surprised that even though the more expensive linen may not be the most historically accurate. So that's also where my rabbit hole is leading me down. So we'll consider this a part one of the video, and as I find more information down this rabbit hole, my intention is to make another video. So I hope you found this video educational or interesting. At least I find it interesting, because before this I didn't know that there was hemp and flax and Ramie, and each one could possibly make linen. I thought linen was just one type, one plant, one type of fabric, and then that was it. So I've been educated. If I have not already included information after this, I will include more information about linen. So keep an eye out for hopefully an upcoming video. Thank you for watching.